Hi, welcome to the Savings Plans webinar. Savings Plans is a new way to save on EC2 and compute on AWS. My name is Peter Shi, Cloud Financial Management BD, and I help customers with cost management and optimization. On the agenda, we'll be talking about EC2 and its different pricing models. We'll share what is Savings Plans in detail and compare it to reserved instances. We'll share how to get started with savings plans and the available tooling you have in your console. We'll cover off other frequently asked questions we've heard from customers. And if you have any remaining questions, feel free to ask them in the chat window and we'll get to them accordingly. So getting started with EC2 and its pricing models. EC2 is scalable, secure, and resizable compute capacity in the cloud. It's accessible from anywhere in the world, serving any location in the world, with ability to provision resources in a mere matter of minutes. It's used for anything from AI/ML to web applications, and also it's pay for what you use, so if you switch it off at night, you stop paying for it. You can pay less for EC2 by using the different purchasing options. Firstly, we have on-demand, which is compute capacity without any commitment. On-demand is more suitable for workloads that are temporary, spiky, or for defining workload needs, for example, non-production. Second, we have reserved instances. They're a 1-year or 3-year commitment for a discount, and they provide up to 72% off versus on-demand, averaging about 20 to 50% off. They're most suitable for committed use and for applications that cannot scale horizontally, which means adding more or fewer instances to meet the workload need. Third, we have Spot. And think of Spot as the spare capacity within AWS data centers. Because it is spare capacity, it gets offered at a steep discount, up to 90% off, averaging about 60 to 80%. Because it is spare capacity, it can be reclaimed, so it does require particular architectures to leverage and take advantage of. Spot is more suitable for time-insensitive workloads, transient workloads, stateless workloads, or workloads that won't be financially feasible otherwise. Example workloads that they're ideal for include containers and CI/CD pipelines. So savings plans fits into this picture in and against the reserved instances. You can think of them as RIs 2.0. Some of you on this webinar may be new to reserved instances as well, so I'll share a bit of information about that. Reserved instances provide significant savings, up to 72% discount versus on-demand, but they also required some planning and management as well. Reserved instances are a commitment in exchange for discount, and what you're committing to is an instance family, for example M4 or C5. You're often committing to a size, you're committing to an operating system, a region or availability zone, and also a tenancy as well. And so because of the commitment you're making, you need to plan 1 year in advance or 3 years in advance to be sure that you're likely to use this type of resource going forward. Now, if we compare that to savings plans, the first type of savings plan is EC2 savings plans. It provides the same discount as standard RIs up to 72%, except for the SUSE operating system. It applies to EC2 and hosts, ECS, EKS, and EMR as well. So anything with underlying EC2 instances, this will work. You can also see that it requires much less planning and management because size, operating system, availability zone, tenancy all no longer matter from a matching perspective, and the only matching requirements are instance family and region. Keep in mind instance family, M4 and C5 are considered to be different families. And so what you're really committing to is just the family and the region. So for example, $5 per hour of EC2 in Sydney. The next type of savings plans is compute. Compute savings plans saves the same amount as convertible RIs, up to 66% discount, except for SUSE operating system. This time, it also applies to Fargate on top of the other services mentioned here. As you can see, this one requires even less planning and management because both instance family and region are now also crossed out. This means that what you're committing to is really simply a dollar against AWS compute globally. So for example, $10 per hour on AWS compute. As you can see, Compute Savings Plans is much more flexible than any existing offering, and this $10 per hour on compute will discount your on-demand usage by up to 66%. RIs can still work with savings plans. You can continue purchasing new EC2 RIs, and also you can still use your existing RIs as well. When RIs are combined with savings plans, the RI discounts will apply first before savings plans discounts applies. If you have reserved capacity requirements, then you can still achieve that through on-demand capacity reservations, which combine with savings plans. And if you have both, the capacity reservations will be charged at the savings plans rates. There are some other similarities as well between RIs and savings plans. Firstly, as mentioned, Compute Savings Plans has the same discount as convertible RIs, and EC2 Savings Plans has the same discount as standard RIs, except for the SUSE operating system, where RIs give greater discount. They all have no upfront, partial upfront, and all upfront payment options for different budgeting needs. They have a 1-year and 3-year commitment period. They both have recommendations and monitoring tools in Cost Explorer. Savings plans and RIs apply their discounts into the account that it was purchased in. So first, before trying to apply to other accounts. So for example, if you have one team who purchased the savings plans or RIs and pay for them upfront, then that team may want to enjoy the discounts before being generous and allowing those discounts to apply to other accounts in the organization. And finally, the commitment you're making is at an hourly level for both RIs and savings plans. So you can't save commitment from 1 hour that was not used and try to use that in the next hour. The implication of this is savings plans and RIs are ideal for steady state type of workloads. So if we compare savings plans and RIs under different scenarios, it will shed some more light as to the differences between the two offerings. So firstly, if you ever need to, or you see yourself planning to change instance family going forward into the future, then with Compute Savings Plans and convertible RIs, that scenario is met and your needs will be met. With convertible RIs, however, there is some work involved in doing the exchange across families, whereas Compute Savings Plans does that automatically. If you need to change instance size, then that's possible across largely all of the options. However, with standard RIs, that only works automatically under a Linux operating system. If you ever need to change operating system into the future and still take advantage of the dollar commitment you've made, that works for Compute, EC2 Savings Plans, and also convertible RIs. If you need to share your commitment across tenancies, so across shared and dedicated, then again the first 3 options work. As mentioned, Compute Savings Plans also applies to Fargate, so there's an additional benefit of Compute. If you need to move region going forward, and one reason you're not committing is because you're not certain of the amount of usage in each region, then Compute Savings Plans is likely the right option for you. And finally, if you want to purchase at a linked account level or sub-account level to make sure the discount first goes to that account, that's possible under all of the models. There are also some edge cases where RIs have an advantage over savings plans. Firstly, at a linked account level, if you want recommendations for those, they're currently available with convertible and standard RIs. However, with savings plans, you need to approximate that for yourself using the RI recommendation. And so what you can do is you can take the value of the RI, for example, if it's all upfront, then you need to divide that number by the number of hours in a year, for example, if you're going for a 1-year commit, to get the savings plan's hourly commitment value. Secondly, If you want to buy on the RI marketplace and hunt for a discount or a non-standard duration RI, then you can do that with standard RIs, but cannot with the other options. Third, if you want to sell your RIs on the marketplace, you can do so with standard RIs, but that comes with some caveats. You need a US bank account, there's a 12% marketplace selling fee, and you also need to wait for other customers to actually come and buy your RI, so you may not be able to turn it around as fast as you would want to. If you want to queue your commitment for the future, then what you can do is it's possible to do so with standard and convertible RIs. However, with compute savings plans, because it's so simple and quick to execute, then it's not really a disadvantage of compute savings plans. If you want to one day change from a no upfront or partial upfront into a partial or all upfront option, only convertible RIs allow you to do that. So upon the exchange, you can change the payment option there. If you want to know the exact savings percentage you're going to enjoy under a 100% RI utilization scenario, the convertible RI and the standard RI have absolute savings figures, whereas for savings plans, you're likely to enjoy those savings and actually likely to enjoy higher dollar discount savings because of its flexibility in applying to more of your usage. However, the certainty is reduced because the amount of savings realized depends on what you're actually running as underlying on-demand infrastructure. Finally, if you want to benefit from the RI volume discount that starts occurring above $500,000 in cumulative RI value, then this only works for standard RIs. Convertible RIs contributes to this $500,000 commitment level. However, it doesn't benefit from the 5% volume discounts that starts at above 500K. And so, given that savings plans is so incredibly flexible compared to existing options, you may want to get started pretty soon. And there's some available tooling as well available in the console to help you with that purchase decision. So in order to get started with savings plans, review your recommendations in Cost Explorer to start. Then customize them based on your needs, so types of savings plans, payment option upfront, partial upfront, no upfront, and the term length as well. Review your hourly commitment and add it to your cart. And then finally, upon execution, you should see that you're enjoying a discounted rate. So this is a screenshot of the latest Cost Explorer console, and you can see that it's got a section all about savings plans. And so if you go to your console, go to Cost Explorer, go into savings plans and see recommendations, it will tell you roughly how much you're spending today, how much you could be committing to, and how much you'd be saving through that commitment. And so as already mentioned, the first selection to make is up on the top, and essentially you're picking the type of savings plan, commitment term, payment option, and the analysis can be based on the last 7 days, last 30 days, or last 60 days as well. One reason why you might base it on the last 7 days is if you've recently made some infrastructure changes or optimizations and you want to commit to what's the latest scenario, then you could take a shorter time window. Whereas if you haven't made many changes, then a 30-day or 60-day option could be more appropriate. Once you're happy with your parameters, you can see the updated figures in the middle box highlighted in orange. On the left-hand side, the $56,000 figure represents the expected monthly on-demand spend before making any purchase. The middle box of $27,000 per month shows the expected spend, including residual on-demand on compute, as well as the savings plan commit, after making the commitment. The right-hand side shows the estimated monthly savings at almost $29,000 per month, or equivalent to 51% of on-demand saved. Please do note that the savings plan commitment number is actually shown in the small text here at $36.2 per hour, and the commitment you're making is the savings plan discounted figure there, as opposed to the on-demand figure shown on the left, which is $78.37 per hour. So after reviewing the commitment and understanding whether or not you're happy with it, you can add the selected savings plan to the cart. And once it's in the cart, you can adjust its commitment value as well. After you purchase your savings plans and then you navigate over to Cost Explorer, this is what your billing could look like in a daily aggregation view. And so here I've selected grouping by the purchase option, looking at only EC2 and excluding any refunds or credits. And you can see in this chart up the top, you can see the costs being flat over time and reducing on the 12th and 13th of November with the orangey colored type of spend. And according to the legend, the orange colored spend is savings plan spend, whereas on demand is in light green and reserved is in blue. Now in the bottom chart against the usage hours, you can see that the total hours has remained the same, but the total spending has started to drop due to savings plan. Here's an example of a savings plan inventory that shows you the savings plan ID, account ID, the type, whether it's compute or EC2, and for EC2 instance savings plan, it'll tell you the family and region. It will share the dollar commitment, the month to date net savings, start date and end date. In the savings plan utilization chart, you'll share how much you're saving so far, the utilization percent as well, and the individual line items with regards to which savings plans are being leveraged. Just a quick note, we found that when it comes to the utilization report, when you first purchase the savings plan, it might show less than 100%, but give it 1 day or so before checking the report again, as it will update over time. The savings plan coverage report will tell you what percentage of your dollars are enjoying a savings plan discount versus percentage of dollars being spent on reserved instances or on demand. And so you can see in this case, purchasing the savings plan on 11th of November gradually resulted a ramp up in savings plan coverage. If we look at the RI coverage report, we can see an increase start. If we look at the RI coverage report, we can see an increase start at the date when savings plans was purchased. This is because savings plans reduces the amount of remaining on demand and replaces that with discounted savings plan spend. Now let's move on to other FAQs we've heard from customers. So the first question is, if I plan to do some technical cost optimization that may result in different instance families, sizes, and quantities, should I commit to savings plan now or should I wait for the optimization to be done? So unlike RIs, customers can now estimate the minimum expected hourly spend and commit to that before doing technical cost optimization. This is because there's less risk of unused savings plans due to instances not matching, especially for compute savings plan where you're putting just simply dollars against AWS globally. RIs were more challenging to use before technical cost optimization due to their need to match instance family, size, tenancy, and operating system. And so if you're able to estimate your potential savings through other means such as right sizing or switching resources off, then you can commit to that savings plan figure to a level where you expect to optimize down to. How can I get savings plans for only my production resources? So the answer is essentially savings plans like RIs apply first to the account that it's been purchased in. And so you have to purchase the savings plans in your production account. Unfortunately, if you haven't split your production resources into their own production accounts, then there's no way for savings plan to apply first to those production resources. From a recommendation perspective, you can always use the linked account RI recommendation, take its value, divide by 24 hours a day, and divide by the days of the commitment period, whether it be 1 year, 365 days, or 3 years, will give you the approximate savings plan value to commit to. The product team is working on linked account level recommendations, but they're yet to be released. The next question is, what coverage and utilization should I target? So coverage is the percentage of EC2 or compute that is enjoying a discount, and utilization is referring to what portion of the commitment you've already made are you actually using and leveraging. So are you maximizing the discounts given your existing commitment? The answer is different for each customer, but you should be able to target a higher coverage under the savings plan model to get more discount. 3-year commits may become viable because of the higher discount than 1-year commits, and because of the flexibility afforded under especially the compute savings plan. If you think about it in terms of asking yourself, am I going to spend this minimum amount on AWS for the next 1 year? Or am I going to spend this minimum amount on AWS for the next 3 years, and you don't expect yourself to go downwards, then it becomes safer to commit on savings plans because you're not picking in specific instance type, region, operating system, or even tenancy. One thing to keep in mind is that the commitment dollar amount is actually the discounted value, not the full on-demand value. So for example, if you're spending $10 per hour on EC2 now on demand, in the savings plan model, you will be committing to $7 or $5 on savings plan, not the $10 on demand amount. Can you have multiple savings plans at the same time? Answer is yes, and as you saw in the inventory example screenshot earlier, you can see which ones are having what impact. Do savings plans provide capacity reservations for EC2 instances? No, but you can use the on-demand capacity reservation product to reserve capacity, and they combine with savings plans or RIs. Is there a minimum or maximum commitment value for savings plans? Yes, the minimum is 0.1 of a cent per hour, and the maximum is $1,000 per hour. Can I modify the commitment of a savings plan's post-purchase? No, there's no way to modify the commitment, so please do be cautious about what you are committing to. And how do I get access to Cost Explorer? So you can search for controlling access for Cost Explorer and get access via this link. You'll need Cost Explorer to do both the purchasing and to see the recommendations for savings plans. So just to recap, savings plans is a new pricing model that provides low prices just like EC2 RIs in exchange for commitment. The commitment you're making is monetary dollar value instead of to specific instance configurations. Despite the edge cases where RIs might be useful, in the vast majority of cases, savings plans is the better option for customers. They're commercially the same, but technically and operationally much simpler. 2 types of savings plans discussed. So the compute savings plans is a minimum hourly dollar on AWS compute for the next 1 to 3 years, and that includes EC2, ECS, EKS, and Fargate as well. And the other option is EC2 instance savings plans. So it's a minimum hourly dollar commit on a particular instance family, for example M5, and a particular region for the next 1 to 3 years. And when I say family, just to confirm that the M4 and the M5 are different families, so you're committing to one of those. And finally, there's a simplified purchasing and management experience via Cost Explorer that's been updated in your console. So thanks very much for attending this webinar and your attention today. If you have any outstanding questions, feel free to ask them in the chat window. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this talk, learned a thing or two, and enjoy the rest of your day.